It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and today we have a beer from Sainsbury's, and it's a pastry stout that's based on a topic bar. Now, doesn't that sound really good? I am slightly wary of pastry stouts. Pastry generally means sweet, cake-like stouts, but there have been some really good ones out there with still some bitterness, so I've got some big hopes for this one. Small batch, handcrafted, cold nutty beer. And the brewery, coldtownbeer.com. This is 7% ABV. 7% ABV. Can you imagine having a 7% ABV nutty chocolate pastry stout that's based on a topic bar? It cost me £4 to buy. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. I have seen this in Sainsbury's. I've also had this sent by our channel sponsor, beersofeurope.co.uk. So I've actually had I've got two cans of this, one from Sainsbury's and one from beersofeurope.co.uk. We'll talk about Beers of Europe in a moment, but first and foremost, I want to talk about the beer in the glass. Look at that as I rock it back and forth. Jet black beer in the glass, one finger tan coloured head. Doesn't that look great? Absolutely fantastic, deep, dark looking beer, good levels of carbonation, great head retention. Look at the way that carbonation is chasing that head of the glass. Doesn't that look absolutely wonderful? Aroma. Oh my goodness me, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, it's like a topic bar or a Mars bar. My goodness. A little bit of a kick of that kind of 7% ABV alcohol on the nose. Nutty, biscuity, bready, roasty, toasty. This smells fantastic. But I do first and foremost want to talk about beersofeurope.co.uk. Beers of Europe, the largest online beer store in the UK with a fabulous range of beers from all over the world. If you like your pastry stouts, or if you like your Spanish or German, Czech, Belgian, American beer, many other countries around the world, you've worked away, or you've been on holiday to one of those countries, you found that perfect beer that you love, and you want to try it back in the UK, best place to find it is beersofeurope.co.uk. There's a link in the description box of this video. So on we go then. Whew, this smells good, really good. Now, I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this brewery. They've produced some pretty decent beer. They've also produced some pretty kind of mediocre beer in the past. This smells exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Ooh. Oh. Oh, it's decadent. It's decadent and sweet and topic bar like and chocolatey. I'm just standing here with like closing my eyes, almost thinking about the roasted malt, almost like praying that the roasted malt will just hit home a little bit. because it has a very large level of sweetness here, and I'm just like, I'm almost imagining it at this stage. I'm almost imagining that kind of, that little bit of roasted malt just to balance things out a little bit. It's quite sweet. It really is topic in a glass. And I suppose if you're this brewery, and if you're a fan of this brewery, and if you've heard of this beer, and if you've sent the link to this beer to your mates, then this is exactly what you want. Who doesn't want a topic in a glass? A topic is a little like nutty. You don't see them so much anymore, but they're like a little nutty, biscuity, kind of like, they're a better version of a Mars bar, in my humble opinion. It needs a little bit more mouthfeel as well. It's a little bit too sweet. Sadly, and I'm going to be honest here, in terms of let's just talk about the mouthfeel for a minute and the way the beer seems to have been constructed. This tastes like one of those vocation sweet stouts that you see in the supermarket. And yeah, the kind of like, remember the vocation like Mars rip-off thing that they did, the Celebrations beers, the Bounty, the Twix, the Snickers, the Mars bar. Can you remember that range of beers? And they were all like, whoa, blimmin' heck. It was either a love or hate beer. Well, I think because there's not a topic in a box of Celebrations, and of course Vocation couldn't do that because it's not in the Celebrations, I think maybe that Cold Town Beer here have gone, oh, I know what we can do. We can jump on like Vocation's Celebrations themed beers here, and we can make a topic version. And I think that's what they've done. And there will be a certain amount of people that probably thoroughly enjoy this style of beer. For me, the sweetness in the beer is almost burning my palate. It's so sweet. It's almost catching fire to my palate. It's like a stringent sweetness coming through. And that's what I was mentioning earlier on with the beer. Now, I've had this style of beer, a pastry stout, from the Netherlands. And I've had it from Denmark and Sweden and Norway. And what these great nations do with their pastry stouts is that they don't forget about the bitterness. They add bitterness to the beer because they recognise and they realise that you can't have a beer as out of balance as this is. It's really out of balance in terms of sweetness. You need some bitterness to balance this beer off. And I'm afraid it just doesn't do it for me. But if you love these sweetie type beers, 7% ABV, you're gonna love this. If I drank the rest of that glass of beer the way I am right now, I'd probably have to walk 10 miles to walk off the kind of the calorie intake, and I can't take that calorie intake unfortunately anymore. So if I drank all of that beer, I'd have to walk 10 miles just to kind of like get myself to back where I was before I drank the beer. So unfortunately, I won't be drinking this beer. It will be going down the sink. It's way too sweet for me. But again, some people are going to love it, aren't they? Some people are going to love it. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.